Hello, vacation. Today let's contemplate a bit on our vacation. What we really want from our vacation. Why we need vacation. How can we get the most out of our vacation? If before the vacation we felt a bit of anxiety and we were upset and anxious and nobody really enjoyed being next to us, and after the vacation we came back and we are the same, then the purpose of we didn't achieve the purpose of the vacation. Why? Because the vacation have a purpose. What is this purpose that we need, that we want really to gain, to achieve in our life? And we can say that if we are going to a vacation and we are getting back home, and after the vacation we feel so tired, fatigued, that we need another vacation, that means the vacation wasn't good enough because it didn't give us what we really needed from the vacation. And the main question is, how can we do that? How can we achieve more out of our vacation? What is the recipe for the best vacation, for the perfect vacation? And we can understand that the vacation is not about what we eat. It's not about the gorgeous view that we can see. It's not about the hotel room. It's about something else. If we are tired, go to rest. Add another hour to your sleeping time, and then you will get out of your sleeping time what you need. You will rest. But in the vacation, we need something else. What we need from a vacation, it's not only rest for our body. Sometimes we say to ourselves, stop, I need to go to a vacation. I feel that I don't have any place, no, I don't have any air. I need some more air. That's why I go to a vacation. But then I go to the vacation and I get nowhere. I do not uplift myself to a better place. I do not go back to my reality, to my everyday life with motivation, with power, with a will to change my world, to achieve more. And this is the real purpose of vacation. The real purpose of the vacation is to bring me back to my reality, to my everyday reality, with more power, with more attributes that I discover in my life, with more engagement to the thing that I'm doing, with more motivation to achieve goals in our life. Without that, the vacation means nothing. And the vacation, it's not like I'm just doing a pause from what I'm doing. It's the Lubavitcher Rebbe says that in a beautiful way. He says a vacation, it's like a sportsman that is now, in order to jump higher or to achieve better results, is just taking a step backward in order to jump to a higher place. So vacation is like stepping a bit backward in order to reach something higher, to have better results. And it's a question, how can we do that? What is this? Let's start answering this question with the idea, with understanding, why do we really need a vacation? Why sometimes I say to myself in the summer or in the winter, come on, let's go to a vacation. I need that. My house need that. My family need that. We need a vacation. The reason that we need a vacation is we need a vacation because the soul needs to feel a bit getting out of its boundaries. Sometimes we need to feel infinity. We do not want to feel that the boundary close on us. So we want to feel, to be a part of, to taste something like releasing ourselves from our boundaries, and it's like getting back to a primeval period of time, like Eve and Adam and Eve were in Eden, and they felt that they have no boundaries. They have to do nothing. They have no obligation. I have no obligation. Nothing is serious here. I don't want everything to be on my shoulders, and I want to feel a bit of this heaven, to be in this place. It's like a mindset that in few days, few weeks, in a part of my life, it's like in a movement in my soul. I want to feel that I'm in a place that I have no obligation, that nothing is serious, that I don't have weight on my shoulders. And this is what I want to gain out of my vacation. Now, when I feel that, when I have a touch of infinity in my life, when my soul wants to reach this touch of infinity, when I can get to that, my main purpose is to take the infinity and to bring it back to bring it down to my everyday life. To take what I felt, no obligation, nothing is serious in life, that it's not all on my shoulders, that to remove stress from my everyday life, and now to bring this beautiful taste of pleasure, of that I was in a place that I felt no commitment, now to bring this taste to my everyday life. So in my everyday life, I will feel a bit of infinity in the finite world. I will feel like I'm breaking my boundaries in the everyday life that I have so much boundaries. So the main question, how do I do that? How do I add this component of feeling something that has no boundaries in my daily life, in my vacation, and to bring it back to my daily life? So most people think that if they will do nothing, they will reach this component that we are talking about in their vacation. They will reach this goal and they will feel that they touched something else. Now they can get back to their everyday life. But it's a mistake, because if I do not reveal my powers in a way, if I do not act, if I don't contemplate or meditate on this component of my vacation, it will not happen. The opposite will happen. My inner powers will feel a bit loose. They will feel that I will lose them in a way. When you don't practice yourself enough, you're losing this taste of feeling infinity. So what do we have to do? Let's contemplate on two levels, on two roads that we have to adopt. Two meditations that we have to do. The first one is to ask ourselves and to find some answers. Where do we have boundaries in our life? Where do we feel that we are stuck? Where do we feel that we need to break boundaries? What are those boundaries? Are they emotional boundaries? Do we talk about boundaries in my work, that I feel that I do not find place, I do not enjoy myself, I do not find place to reach higher levels, to push myself forward? Do I have boundaries in my beliefs? Do I have problems in the way I learn? If you are a student and you feel that it's very hard for you to learn, maybe I have boundaries in my relationship or with my children. I feel stuck. I feel that I'm not in my place. I feel that I need something else. I feel lack of motivation. I don't want to invest here. I don't want to be here. I do not appreciate my life. Sometimes I feel like lack of liveliness, that I do not live enough. I'm not in my place. So there is a boundary that we all suffer from it, and this boundary changes from one to each other, and we want to find our boundary in order to find a place. To find, when I mean a place, it's not a place that we go to, a place in our soul, that we will be able to break this boundary and to get back to our daily life and to fill it with motivation, with liveliness. So the second component, the second road that we have to meditate on in order to achieve this goal, that to break the boundary and to touch something that is primeval, that I have no obligation to something, that I will be able to break the boundaries. The second thing called pleasure. Pleasure, it's the deepest and highest and strongest power, attribute that we have in our soul. According to the Kabbalistic and Hasidic literature, the pleasure, it's like a part of our crown. It's the inner side of our crown. What is this pleasure? Pleasure, it's when I do things that I am not obliged to do, that I don't have to do. Nobody forced me to do them, because I choose to do them. And when I choose to do them, I'm being connected to them. And I feel this connection that opens my mind. When I have pleasure in my mind, I understand things better. Think about a child that needs to do his homework, and he has to do his homework. He will always do his homework without satisfaction, without really motivation to do that. But if he will do his homework with a kind of a pleasure that will fill him, and it's pleasure, it's not like I'm sitting like that, resting and doing nothing. Pleasure, it's an inner power that pushes me to do things with a lot of liveliness. Pleasure is the power of life. It's the inner power of life. When I have pleasure, I am living in a way. That's why a lot of time we look for pleasure in the wrong places, in addictions and in things that we won't find real the pleasure. It's a false messiah that we are looking for. Pleasure in a vacation is that I have a bit to meditate. How can I find pleasure in my learning? You want to find, you're a student, you're learning Torah, whatever you learn, you want to find pleasure in what you're doing. Without pleasure, I'm just doing it, must. And when I'm only must do things, at the end, I will feel lack of power. I won't really enjoy it, and I won't really develop myself. So I have to feel, in a way, a pleasure in what I'm doing. So, I mean, pleasure, it's like, I really want to do that. And in order to find pleasure, I have to take from between me and the thing that I'm doing, all those things that cover the pleasure, like interest, like I have to do, like pressure. You want to find joy and pleasure in what you are learning, you have to be concentrate and connect yourself to the thing itself, not to the thing around it. If you can connect yourself to the thing itself, then you will find a pleasure. And when I won't find a pleasure. That means that I'm in a vacation. If you won't even find 5 minutes to learn, if that's the thing that you want to get back to, if you're a student and you want to get back to your everyday life with more power, more motivation to learn, it's not enough that you will rest. You have to concentrate. We have to concentrate a bit about finding pleasure and knowing what is the boundaries, and then finding pleasure, which is the power of life in what I'm doing, learning it from a different perspective, thinking differently on the issues that I'm doing. And it's a great advice. I'm going to a vacation, I'm getting backward in order to go forward. So in order to get backward, I don't have only to leave everything. I have to see where I'll find pleasure in what I'm doing. Second thing, if I don't have pleasure in my work, meditate on it. How would I find pleasure in my work? Without doubt, without pleasure in my work, I'm just doing things 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, doesn't matter. And I feel suffering. Even relationship. You're going to a vacation together. Relationship without pleasure will never, in a relationship, it's never, I think we spoke about it, it's never the communication. A lot of people say, our communication, it's bad. It's never about the communication. I'll give an example. Take the couple and give them the best communication that you can give. They have no fights, no quarrels. The economic situation is great. They know, each one of them know what he does. Nobody feels that he is doing more than the other. Still, there is no pleasure there in the relationship and no emotions. Would you like to live in this kind of relationship? No, because the whole idea of relationship is not the communication. The communication is the last important thing. The most important thing in the relationship is what? Is the pleasure. When I have pleasure in my relationship, and this pleasure, it's not that I have to find the relationship, to find it only in external thing. The relationship, the pleasure in being together, in living together. It's like, I feel that my life worth. This is my life that I want. The life that I want. When you have pleasure in your relationship, then we will be able to change, to overcome problems in the communication easily. This is not the point. The point is what? The point is finding the pleasure in the relationship. And it could be a pleasure that comes from the soul, and mundane pleasure. Doesn't matter which kind of pleasure that we are talking about, but you have to find the pleasure, the everyday pleasure. It's not that it will illuminate every day, but you will have a bit of this illumination here and there, and it will help you to grow your relationship. And if you went to a relationship and you didn't find the pleasure in your everyday life, and you only had a great vacation, then you are getting back to a problematic relationship. And the third, and another example, so we can understand what is finding relationship. Sometimes you don't have pleasure, not only in your work, not only in your relationship, not only in your career, but in the life itself. You do not enjoy life. You feel life is just achieving something. We are goal-oriented. That means that we have to achieve things in order that we will have pleasure. We will have the right emotions. The emotions are the most important role, or the most important meaning that we have in life. And looking for meaning, it's only a way to help the emotions being correct one, desirable one, the emotion that will push me forward and will help me connect myself to this reality. So if I'm in a vacation, my main purpose in vacation is to find what is my pleasure in life? How can I find it? Read about it. Think about it. Use the vacation to inspire yourself, to fill it with pleasure. And when talking about pleasure, it's an I power it's an I attribute in our soul. It's illuminating all. When you have good feelings, it must have some kind of pleasure that helps you reveal your good feelings, good emotions. When you can understand things, that means you had some kind of pleasure in understanding this thing. It's not just you must. When you must, the power of will works like it's like a government that force you to do things. The power of pleasure does not force you to do something. You want to. And when you want to and you feel connected to something, it opens, it broadens your understanding. So when you are going to our vacation, we have a mission. It's vacation, it's another mission that we have in life. To get back to our daily life full of inspiration, full of power, full of motivation. And it won't come from itself. So you pay so much attention to what you will eat, where you will visit, the hotel that you will rent. It's not enough. We have to add another component, so our vacation will be the perfect one. What is this component? This component means to understand how can I find something that is connected to infinity, to a place that I have no boundaries there, and this place is connected to pleasure. Because pleasure is a place that there is no boundaries there. When you have pleasure, you want to uplift yourself. You feel life. And this pleasure is connected to our boundaries, to our daily boundaries. So we have to meditate what are our boundaries, and each one of us has his own boundaries. And then after we contemplate on our boundaries, what we are doing now, we are trying to figure out how can we find pleasure in what we are doing. And pleasure, it's always, we have few talks about pleasure. Pleasure is always connected to me and the thing itself without thing interfering in the between, like interest, like other things that could interfere our relationship. It means I'll give you a story to finish I want it always that we'll talk 20 minutes, 15 minutes. So I will try. I'm not doing enough. We thought about daily meditation, but we do not stand for it now, but we will do it at the end. I remember, let me give you an example of my son is 27 years old, and about 3-4 years ago, he started learning engineering at the university, and at the first 2 years, he felt in each one of the examination, he couldn't pass. He got such a lower grades, and he was frustrated a bit, and tried to understand why. He sat about 10 hours a day, started learning, and he thought, I'm not good enough. And I told him, it's not that you are not good enough. You are learning from external reasons. You do not find pleasure in what you learn. You do not connect yourself to what you learn, because he was always in stress. How things will go, if I will succeed or not, what if I will lose my place at the university. The next year, he got back and he started the first year from the beginning, and then in this year, now he's finishing his third year, and in this year he finished it in great grades, And what was the change? What was the difference? What he did? He pushed away from him all the stress. He said, okay, if I will fail, I will fail. It's not for me being an engineer. But I'm trying to learn the material that we are learning directly, without thinking about winning, losing, success, etc. So we started learning, and he felt the material itself, and he enjoyed it so much. He came every day, and he was full of enthusiastic, wow, the things we are learning, and he didn't really care about the success or not. At the end, he succeeded very much. Why? Because pleasure you find not when you think about external things, when you are connected to the things itself. So I wish we all having a perfect vacation that will bring us back to our daily life full of motivation and a desire to reveal our inner attributes and to change the world and to add beauty to it and goodness to it. Thank you very much. I will remind you that we opened a WhatsApp group if you want to get the daily, of course, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to get some notification on our WhatsApp group, you're more than welcome. See you on the next Jewish meditation. Thank you very much.